This is WEBS Radio Network. Good evening and welcome. We're coming to you live from our studios in Aurora, Illinois. Stay tuned for the premiere of Mason Jennings' Private Detective, brought to you by the makers of Big Rock Single Grain Whiskey. Big Rock Whiskey is handcrafted and distilled in small batches, using only the best rye from our fields right here in Mill Valley, Illinois. Every bottle has been aged 8 years in our charred oak wood barrels. If you're looking for a whiskey that goes down smooth and mellow, giving you bold flavors of hazelnut and oak, that ends up with having a balanced taste that's sure to satisfy, pick up a bottle of Big Rock Whiskey.
Mason Jennings, Private Detective. Starring Tim Riker as Mason Jennings. Co-starring Carrie Holman as Sabrina Storm. Cap Sullivan as Frank Stillman. Linda Mitchell as Carol Lee. Thomas Cutter as Krell Lee. And Victor Nelson as Rex Malloy. Mason Jennings, Private Detective. Episode 1, Part 1, Shattered Diamonds.
There had been a heat wave in Chicago City that had people on edge. Something had been eating at me all day. There was something in the air. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I had a feeling that told me bad things were coming. It's Friday, June 7th, 1946. It had been raining most of the day, the sound of the storm almost drowning out the sound of the traffic below. The cool air was a welcome break from the heat. I had just lit up a smoke when Sabrina knocked on my office door. And following her was the start of the case I call Shattered Diamonds.
Mr. Jennings, there's a Miss Lee here to see you.
Show her in.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jennings. I'm Carol Lee.
Smoke?
Thank you.
What can I do for you, Miss Lee?
It's Mrs. Lee. My husband's name is Krill.
So, what can I do for you, Mrs. Carol Lee?
Someone stole a diamond ring my husband gave me. I need you to find it.
So why haven't you just called the police?
The police? Oh no. I couldn't get the police involved, and my husband would find out it's missing.
Why wouldn't you want your husband to know?
If my husband knew that ring was missing, he would kill me.
First you said the ring had been stolen, and now it's missing. You don't want the police involved. You don't want your husband to know. You need to level with me right now or this conversation is over.
Have you heard of the Henchmen?
The Henchmen was a brutal gang of thugs and punks on the west side of Chicago City. They had been responsible for a recent string of murders and strong-arm robberies. Yeah, I've heard of them.
My husband is Krill Lee, the boss of the Henchmen. If he found out if he found out someone stole it from me, it would be very bad. I can't let him find out. Please, I'll pay you whatever you ask.
I should have turned her down then and there, but something piqued my curiosity. I get $150 a day plus expenses. I get $500 in cash up front before I do anything.
Can you meet me at the Royal Crown at 7 p.m.? I'll have the money then.
I'll be there. rain had just stopped as I was starting my car to take the drive to meet with Carol. The west side of Chicago City is about as bad as it gets. There is nothing but trouble. The Royal Crown looked like a swanky club on the outside. Walk in and you're assaulted by the smell of cheap cigars and stale beer. The rafters are covered in dust and carpet has stains from countless spills. The lack of ventilation left the room dark from the thick cloud of smoke. It's a great place if you like cheap drinks, rubbing shoulders with street crooks, drunks, and two-bit women. Places like this are perfect for underworld con games and shady deals. The one thing they had going for them was the music from the band and the voice from a gorgeous redhead named Ginger.
Persuading me to do these things I know are wrong. Have made me blue. Now I leave and there's nothing you can do. Bang a lang a ding dong goo, baby. I've nothing left for you. I say bang a lang a ding dong goo for goodbye to you. Bang a lang a ding dong dooby doo.
I played it safe and showed up an hour early. I was on my second cup of coffee and had just crushed out the last smoke in the pack when she walked in. There she was, Carol Lee, standing by the door wearing a deep blue full skirt, the kind with a cinched waist and rounded shoulders. She wasn't half bad to look at, and with a wink or a touch, she could lead a man to real trouble.
I see you're here already. Mind if I sit down?
Go ahead, it's a free country.
I hope you haven't been waiting long.
I've been here long enough to spot almost every low-life thug in Chicago City. Is there a reason you had me meet you here other than giving me the 500? Or is this the kind of place you like?
Here's your money. Go ahead, count it. You'll see it's all there, all 500, just like you said.
I'm glad you know how to count. Now we can get down to business. This ring, where was the last place you saw it?
Well, that's the thing I'm not sure about.
I can't help you if you don't tell me everything you know. Remember, you came to me. If you're not ready to come clean and tell me what's going on, I'll pocket your 500 and go back to my office, and you can deal with your husband with or without your precious ring.
I've told you everything I know.
Have a nice evening, Mrs. Lee.
No, stop. Please wait. I want to tell you, but I'm so ashamed.
I'll stay, but you have one chance to tell me the truth, whether you're ashamed or not.
I don't know how to start, where to begin.
Relax for a minute. Take a breath. Now go ahead and tell me what you don't want me to know. Mrs. Lee, I am not here to judge you. You hired me to find your ring, nothing more.
Well, okay, to be blunt, I've been having an affair with my husband's best friend.
And you think he took your ring?
No. I mean, yes. Oh, I just don't know. Maybe. About a month ago, we got in an argument.
About?
Rex. That's his name. Rex Malloy. He wanted me to go with him to Rio. I told him it was too risky. Krill would drop me like yesterday's newspaper. I've got a good thing going with Krill. I do love him. He gives me a good life. I'm never hungry. He gives me money when I ask.
But
Rex is different. He treats me like I'm special. He never raises his voice to me. And there's other things too. I love Rex and I love my husband too. I've known Rex for as long as I've known my husband. I've been attracted to him for over 11 years. One day he came over when Krill wasn't home, and I gave in to the desire.
Well, maybe I missed something here. How did confessing to me you've been cheating on your husband help me find your ring? Do you see the guy with the hard eyes sitting in the booth across from us?
Which one?
That barrel-chested guy with the gray suit, salt and pepper beard. Do you know him?
Him? I've never seen him before.
It looks like you have a shadow. He came in right after you did. He's been sitting there watching you since he came in. I want you to slap my face.
But why?
If you give me a good hard slap, your friend over there will think I'm getting fresh, and that was your way of showing me the door.
I can't do it. I can't slap you for no reason.
I should have known I was wasting my time. You don't care about that ring or your husband. You're just a cheating little tramp. And now you're doing whatever you have to keep your husband in the dark, all the while spreading the sunshine for your lover.
You lousy!
Nice job. Come by my office in the morning, and make sure you're not followed. I must have touched a nerve. Carol slapped me with real anger behind it.
This episode of Mason Jennings is brought to you by Big Rock Whiskey. Hey fellas, next time you have the boys over for poker night, why not open a bottle of Big Rock Whiskey? Remember, we distill our whiskey in small batches. You and your friends will enjoy the bold flavors of hazelnut and oak. Poured over ice or straight up, you're sure to enjoy every swallow that goes down smooth and mellow. Pick up a bottle of Big Rock Whiskey, available only at OG liquor stores.
You're broadcasting over WAAM, and this comes to you direct from the Edison Studios. WAAM, located at 1 Bond Street, Newark, operates on a frequency of 1120 kilohertz.
Phone call for you, Mason. It's Police Lieutenant Stillman.
You are probably familiar.
Thanks, Sam.
Sponsored radio program
That's why I'm here.
coming
That
the
and your good
highest
looks.
features on broadcasting stations.
You never know. You might get lucky someday.
In a great majority of cases, is a most satisfactory
Lieutenant
program.
Stillman, what can I do for you?
However,
Where were you last night, Jennings?
perhaps realize the amount of time
I was out having coffee with a friend. There's no law against that, is there?
that it will be
I'd rather just talk with you, Jennings. I could have you come downtown if you want me to. Either way, makes no difference to me.
All right, Frank, have it your way. But just remember, it wasn't that long ago I was your partner. You still owe me one. Just stop beating around the bush and get to the point.
Okay, word has it you were seen with Carol Lee in the Royal Crown last night.
Yeah, so?
So there was a murder. Less than a block away from the Royal. Witnesses said it came from the Royal Crown.
There were a lot of people in the Royal last night. Maybe you could narrow it down for me?
A big guy in his 50s wearing a gray suit, had salt and pepper beard. His throat was cut ear to ear.
Yeah, I saw him there.
Did you see if he was alone or talk to anyone?
I just saw him there. I wasn't babysitting. What time did you say he was found?
It was called in at 11:47 last night.
What was his name? Did he have any identification?
Yeah, a Mr. Marco Del Recco, the number 2 strong arm for the henchman. He lived over on 254 State Street. Our guys are looking the place over as we speak.
I wish I could help you more, Frank.
You can't tell me that you were seen in the Crown Royal with Carol, the wife of Krell Lee, boss of the henchmen, and that you had nothing to do with the murder of his number 2 guy? Even if you had no direct involvement, you know more than you're telling me. I'm warning you, Jennings, if you're holding back, you'll regret it.
Yeah, I'll add it to my list. The number 2 man in charge of the henchmen, Marco Del Recco, answered only to Krell, found dead in the street. I knew there was something coming. I didn't have to find it. It blew into my lap.
Mason, Carol Lee is here to see you. She's scared out of her wits. Please be careful, Mason. I see nothing but trouble.
Don't worry, Sam. I've dealt with her kind before.
It's not her that worries me, Mason. Her husband does. I'll make some coffee.
Sabrina was right. Krell Lee is a stone-cold killer. He has his fingers dipping into drugs, gambling, prostitution, and murder. He knows how to cover his tracks. He is no one's fool. When Carol walked into my office, she had a look of fear on her face.
Come back next week for part 2 of Shattered Diamonds. Mason Jennings, Private Detective.
Brought to you by the makers of Big Rock Single Grain Whiskey. Big Rock Whiskey is handcrafted and distilled in small batches, using only the best rye from our fields right here in Mill Valley, Illinois. Every bottle has been aged 8 years in our charred oak wood barrels. If you're looking for a whiskey that goes down smooth and mellow, giving you bold flavors of hazelnut and oak, that ends up with having a balanced taste that's sure to satisfy, pick up a bottle of Big Rock Whiskey.